or close the colon.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Hola, buenas tardes. Me llamo Sharon Snowton, soy maestro bilingüe. Vamos a practicar cómo hacer inferencia, pero en inglés con esta niña, se llama Eva. Es una niña chiquita y esa es la manera mejor para trabajar con chiquitos. Gracias. Hi, Ava. How are you?
Good.
Good. Today, we're going to talk about what is an inference. That's what we're going to look at. What is an inference? Do you know what an inference is? What's an inference? What do you think it is?
An inference is thinking what they're doing.
Exactly. An inference is thinking about what they're doing. Did we do this past Monday? We did. We did it with a cute story, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes, we did. And you have a good memory. An inference is thinking about what they did. Connections to explicit instruction is scaffolding. When you are working with young children, you have to do I do, which is the teacher modeling. We do, which is the teacher and student working together. And the you do, which is students on their own. I'm wearing a mask because I have Ava here, and in this part of the world, we do have coronavirus. I do not want my students sick, but I do want to show you how to do I do, we do, you do. Ava, let's look at my I do first. In my I do, I can see a lady and she's standing at a bus stop and it's raining. Do you think she's happy?
No.
I don't think she's happy either, Ava. Look, she's wet.
And she's sad.
And she's sad, and I see lots of water on the ground. So I'm pretty sure she's not happy. So, based on what I see her standing at the bus stop in the rain. And what I know standing in the bus stop in the rain is not fun. I can infer that she is not happy. Do you agree?
Yes.
Let's do one together. We do. Okay, on this one, I see me, Miss Snowton. And I'm at home getting ready to watch TV. The music is on the TV, and my little dog is at the door. And he's going, grrr. Why do you think he's going, grrr? You think somebody's outside? And what is it? Is it night or day outside?
It's night.
It is night. We can see in the windows that it's dark outside, and we see knock, knock, knock. And look, it's dinner time. There's my pot of stew, and there's my bowl, and it's hot.
So you're waiting for it to cool off.
I'm waiting for it to cool off. Exactly. Because you know what, Ava? We infer all the time. How did you know that I was waiting for my food to cool off?
Because you're sitting at the couch and you're not getting your porridge.
I'm sitting at the couch and I'm not eating my porridge. Exactly. And how did you know my dog is not happy?
Because I can see it.
Okay, because she's barking, and we know my dog only barks when she doesn't know people, right?
Yeah.
Remember my little dog? Because you've been to my house. Exactly. Okay, so now we're going to do one more. You do. Tell me what you see.
I see a little girl having a birthday and she's 5 years old.
How do you know she's 5, Ava?
Because her hat.
Oh, her hat says 5. What else?
And that 5-year-old loves dolls.
How do you know she loves dolls?
Because I can see it from right there.
You can see her Barbie. What else do you see?
And that the Barbie's on the cake.
Okay, the Barbie's standing kind of near the cake. What is this?
That's the Barbie house.
The Barbie house. Did you get a Barbie house for your birthday?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so how many gifts does this girl have?
She
Count
has
them.
3.
Count them.
1, 2, 3. Wait, what?
4.
4, 5.
Wow. She's got 5 birthday gifts. And how many balloons?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So what can you infer based on this picture?
That she's 5 years old.
That she's 5 years old. Because it's so much stuff. Good job, Ava. So to infer, we list the details from the text. Our text on this were the pictures we saw. It's what you see, what you already know, and that is how you infer. Very good, Ava. So for those of you who are working with older children who are reading, they need to read the text, read the question, list the details that they see, look for information about the situation they're reading about, and think about what they already know to infer. When they're reading the text, they need to think about what the character says, what the character did, and so I think. I promised you that we would do 3 activities. So we're going to do 3 activities with Ava. The first activity is we're going to read a story with her. So this is the I do part. I read the story. And the story is Goldilocks and the 3 bears. One sunny day, a little girl named Goldilocks went for a walk. So she came across a path that led to a pretty little cottage. It had a roof made of straw and flowers under the windows. Goldilocks wanted to find out who lived in the cottage, so she pushed the door open and went inside. Someone must have been cooking because the air smelled very good indeed. Goldilocks found 3 bowls of porridge on the table. She was very hungry, so she tasted some from the largest bowl, but it was too hot. The porridge in the middle-sized bowl was too cold, but the porridge in the smallest bowl was delicious, so she ate it all up. By then, Goldilocks was full and she wanted to sit down. Look at her sitting. She found the living room and she saw 3 chairs. The wooden chair was too hard. The armchair was too soft, but the little chair was perfect. Goldilocks sat on it and she broke it. Oh no, look, Goldilocks has fallen.
Now the little bear's gonna be so sad.
Yes. When Goldilocks went upstairs, she found 3 beds. The first bed was too hard. The second bed was too soft and very bouncy. After a while, Goldilocks felt very sleepy. She lay down on the third bed, which was warm and comfy. Suddenly, Goldilocks woke up to find 3 grumpy-looking bears glaring at her. Why do you think the bears are grumpy?
Because she went into the house without asking the bear.
She went into their house without asking the bear. That wasn't nice, was it?
Yeah, and she ate all the kids' first, and she broke the kids' chair.
Exactly. She was so scared, she screamed and she ran home. That day, Goldilocks decided never to enter someone else's house without being invited first. So we've read the story. Now, the we do part, we're going to use some inference cards. And because of time, we're only going to use one. This inference card says the little girl went into the house. No one was home. She sat in the chair, she ate the porridge, and she fell asleep. When the bears came home, the little bear started to cry. What can you infer from this?
Because the little bear cried because she ate all his porridge that he was gonna eat, and she broke her foot. She broke his favorite chair.
Exactly. What words helped you to infer? What words?
What word?
The little bear was what? What did he do?
He cried.
He cried. The word cry. What do you know in your head that helped you to infer? If I came to your house and I came in without you knowing I was there and I slept in your bed and I ate your porridge and I broke your chair, would you be happy?
No.
No, you'd be very, very angry at me. So now we've done the I do, we've done the we do with the cards. Now we're going to do the you do, and you're going to tell me what can you infer. Okay?
Okay.
What can you infer? So here we go. I need you to think about this as we look at another story. The second story that we're going to look at is Three Little Pigs. Once upon a time, there were three little pigs. They lived comfortably at home with their mother. However, the day came when they had grown so big that there was no longer any room for them. It was time for them to leave. And notice all the pictures, Eva, because at your age, we have to use lots of visuals to help you learn to infer. The three little bears decided to build themselves a house each to live in. The first little pig built a house from straw. The second little pig built a house from sticks. The little pigs made his house from bricks. He took his time and he built it very carefully, brick by brick by brick, and he was the last one to finish. So you see the house from straw, the house from wood.
They're very good.
You don't think they're very good? Why not?
I only think the brick one is good, so people won't get in your house.
Ah, okay. So nearby lived a hungry wolf who ate little pigs. He walked to the house made of straw and he puffed his chest out. I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow the house down, he called. And he went to the pig's house. Little pig, let me in. The little pig was so scared he ran to hide in the house made of sticks. Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. The wolf walked to the house of sticks and he said, little pigs, let me in. I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow the house down. And he did. The two little pigs were so scared that they quickly let go of each other and ran as fast as they could to shelter in the house of bricks. The third little pig welcomed his brothers and he let them in for a nice cup of tea. He has the house made out of bricks, right?
Yeah.
But the wolf wasn't far behind. Little pigs, let me in. If you don't, I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow the house down, cried the wolf. And he huffed and he puffed and he blew. But the house and walls were so strong they did not fall. Thanks to the third little pig's hard work, they were safe and at last safe from the hungry wolf. So, based on the way this story ends, what can you infer?
That the pigs almost died.
They almost died, exactly. How? How do you know?
Because the wolf almost ate them.
How? What did he do?
Because he wanted the house.
He wanted the houses. So what did he do to get the first two houses?
He blew them down.
He blew them down because he wanted to eat who?
The pigs.
He wanted to eat the pigs. And then what happened with the third house?
The third house didn't break down.
Exactly. The third house didn't break down. So I'm going to ask you again. Tell me what inference means.
Inference means that something happens, like what do the people feel like?
Okay.
Like when they have a feeling, what do you think it feels like?
Okay. And so you have to understand what they're feeling. What do you think the pigs were feeling? Scared. How would you feel?
I would feel very scared. I'll be running from my mommy and my daddy.
Okay. And then at the end, the pigs were safe. How do you think they felt then? Okay. Happy? Because they were safe from the wolf?
Mm-hmm.
And the wolf had to leave, right?
Yep.
Teachers, understanding scaffolding will help your children learn to inference. Learning these strategies will help them and will help you teach inferencing. I want you to remember Marzano. He says that there are 4 questions to facilitate a discussion on inferencing. You have to ask yourself, what is your inferencing? What information did you use to make the inference? How good was your thinking? And do I need to change my thinking? When you're working with older children, you need to also remember that They need to look at the text evidence. They need to look for clues. They need to match the clues with what the question is. And then they need to think to themselves, is this the best possible answer? Here are some inference sentence starters. When I read the words and the picture showed, I thought. When I read the words, it reminded me of, so I think. It says and it shows, so I'm guessing. It says and I know, so I'm thinking. Since the text says and I know, I can infer. The character said and did, so I think. And I'll bring that closer, teachers, so you can read it. I wonder is that backward? Okay. Teachers, thank you. I hope you've learned a lot on inferencing today. Please feel free to contact me at sksnowton@yahoo.com if you have questions. Thank you.
Buddy, you're on point, being a big boy, reading in your scene, gonna make an inference someday. You got judged from your text, you know what's next. Linking your background knowledge, then flex, singing.
We will infer. We will infer.
Buddy, you see feelings, characters and books, gonna put on a show today. You got emotions in place, ugly crap face, keeping their feelings in your brain in case.
We will infer. We will infer.
Buddy, you read their thoughts, make jobs, thinking with your mind, gonna get you some character traits. You got some thoughts relayed, emotions in place. The only thing missing is their access to date.
We will infer. We will infer.
Buddy, you're a wise one, mine's done. As you've seen it now, I'm gonna tell you about their ways. You got all thoughts in place, emotions race, behaviors will give you some character traits.
We will infer. We will infer. We're going to infer today. Woo! Hi, my name is Sharon Snowton. I'm a bilingual teacher of 30 plus years. I live in Texas in the United States. During those 30 years, I learned a lot about inferencing. In fact, I learned 25 different ways to teach children to infer. Yes, I said 25 different ways. And with COVID-19 now, we have to teach in the classroom, we have to teach virtually, we have to teach the children how to infer, and it can be really hard without entertaining them. Oh, the stickers? Huh? That's because a lot of teachers now are putting stickers on their face to keep those children who are virtual entertained and paying attention. Let's take them off because I think I can teach you some new strategies to infer where we won't need the stickers. So let's look at it. Today, the information that I'm sharing with you is based on the research of Robert Marzano. There are two books out there, Classroom Instruction That Works by Dr. Marzano and The Art and Science of Teaching by Dr. Marzano. So these are books that you might want to get. When you teach inference, you want to teach inference sentence starters. So we have, when I read the words and the picture showed, I thought. When I read the words, it reminded me of, so I think. It says, and so I'm guessing. It says, and I know, so I'm thinking. Since the text says, and I know, I can infer. And the character said and did, so I think. Remember, as teachers, we need to introduce the students to these different ways of learning how to inference, this wonderful skill of inferencing, at least 20 times. So let's get started. I have a student here, and because it is coronavirus in this part of the world, as I work with him, I will have on a mask. And later I'll have another student who's younger, and I'll still have on my mask. But we'll talk long enough for you to hear us. We all start with bell ringers. After bell ringers, we'll do what is an inference, and I'll show you how that's done using Dr. Marsano's way. Then we'll have activity 1, what's in my teacher's bag, activity 2, t-shirt, activity 3, text, and then closure. I did already include the lesson plans for you. Also, please be aware that these activities are done in English or Spanish, and you just do them, and you do them at least 20 times, and your students will automatically learn how to inference. The first thing is a bell ringer. So with the bell ringer, the bell ringer is, it says daily warm up, stormtrooper, using real fiction. And this has an inference, or organized crime with an inference. You can use these. I like to laminate everything in the classroom, and you can also download them on the computer for those children at home to do. So I'm going to ask my student to be working on the inference question. I need you to read and work on the inference question, please, while I'm working on this. Dr. Marsano says, with children, you must identify similarities and differences, summarize and note take, reinforce effort and provide recognition, homework and practice, non-linguistic representation, cooperative learning, setting objectives, providing feedback, generating and testing hypotheses, questions and cues, and advanced organizers. Be aware, please, that when I'm doing inference and I first introduce, I use the little cards the way Dr. Marsano does. And I'm going to show you one of the cards up close. This is it in English. I want you to be able to see it. There you go. Notice the little box 1, 2, 3, 4. The 1 means I don't know anything at all about that word. The 2 means I recognize the words. I've seen that word, not really sure what it means. The 3 means I know a little something about it. And the 4 means I know everything there is to know about inferencing. You introduce these cards at the beginning of your lesson, the middle of the lesson, maybe the 3rd week, the end of the lesson, maybe the 6th week. So they will see this card 3 times, and 3 times your students will fill out this card. For your students who are at home, they can do it because they'll all be putting it in their interactive notebook. And you tell me, they're not going to put it in an interactive notebook. It's about how you do it. I'll explain in a minute. Notice here, the students put the definition of the word inference in their own words. The non-linguistic representation, I showed a book plus a brain equals question mark. That's because the book means the text, the brain means my own background knowledge, the question mark means my inference. Also over here, an example. So I put an example. I put a cake, I put a certificate, and what can I infer? A graduation. So you can also do this card in Spanish. Let me share my interactive notebook with you. Here is my interactive notebook. I make one for myself along with the students. And I go down through here. I look on the side. I look for inference. And the students have their notebook also done. And anything that they do that has inference on it is in their notebook. Even the students at home. And the students at home, when you're Zooming them, you have them show you their notebook so you can do your notebook check. I like to do inferencing with realistic fiction and social studies. So in the United States, Dr. Martin Luther King is someone really important. So here's a game. It says, what did he mean that? What did he mean by that? And it says, inferring with Dr. Martin Luther King. This is an activity that you can do. Remember, Marzano says we're going to summarize and note take. You do that with your language arts reading interactive notebook. Also, please be aware with this interactive notebook, you can write in it in English or Spanish. The child has the option of how they want to write in it because it's their study guide. Also, reinforce effort and provide recognition. Remember that we have to thank the children and let them know, even those who are at home, when they've done a good job. Homework and practice is something that can be given in the classroom and through virtual. The non-linguistic representation is people think of pictures in their brains when they think of words. That's why I use the question mark when I do interactive notebook and inferring. Then cooperative learning, you can also do this with project-based learning, or you can do it in the classroom, or they can do it cooperatively on the computers. So let's get started with activities. The first one is the bell ringer. Let me put my mask on because I'm here with my student. Can you please, sir, read aloud your bell ringer?
Stormtrooper.
Loud.
Stormtrooper. Jason and his father were driving to the grocery store to pick up some milk. It had been a weird day. The sky was dark, but there were a few clouds. As they drove up the street, there started to be a rumbling sound heard across the ground. Jason's father immediately realized that a tornado was coming. He stopped the car and instructed Jason to get out immediately. Jason and his dad got out of the car and worked their way to the closest building. By this time, the wind was raging and it was hard to see or hear. Debris was falling all over the building. By this time, the wind was raging and it was hard. Oh, the place. Jason couldn't see his dad anymore. He also realized that he wasn't getting to the building fast enough. He was afraid he would be picked up by the wind and thrown into the air. As he worked his way towards the building, he noticed a field to his right. He could see the irrigation ditch that dipped down. In a panic, he scrambled to the ditch and laid flat on the ground. More debris and objects flew overhead. Jason stayed crouched down. His heart was pounding and he was nervous. He had never been in a tornado before. After a while, the winds died down and the loud roaring sound was gone. Jason slowly lifted his head and peered around. The landscape, as he once knew it, was destroyed. Jason could barely recognize the buildings in front of him because of all the damage. He stood up and with shaky legs walked to the building. Once there, he pried the door open and went inside. It was a public building owned by the city. It was vacant, but Jason could hear noises further inside. He walked into the large room and caught a glimpse of his dad. He raced across the room and gave him a big hug. "Jason, how are you? I've been worried sick about you," said his father. "I couldn't find you anywhere." Jason breathed a sigh of relief and sat down. Did he ever have a story to tell?
Very good, Aston. Now, read your inference question aloud, please.
Which paragraph explains the problem in the story?
Is that question 2?
That's question 1.
Read question 2, please.
What inferences can you make about Jason?
Notice the question said, what inferences can you make about Jason? When your student takes that state test, it will explicitly say the word inference. So read your answer choices, please, aloud.
A. Jason is upset with his father. B, Jason tries to follow very high expectations. C, Jason doesn't take life too seriously and can adjust easily. Or D, Jason is quick thinking and self-sufficient.
And what was your answer choice?
D.
D. D is correct. Tell me why you chose D.
Because the way that Jason thought, he knew that the irrigation pipes and the way that it ditched down would be able to keep him lower to the ground so he didn't get pulled up by the air.
Okay, very good. So he gave us his explanation. His answer was correct. Notice connection to explicit instruction is scaffolding. Scaffolding using I do, the teacher models, we do, where the teacher and student work together, you do, where the student's on his own. So the very first activity that we're going to do is what's in my teacher's bag. This is my bag. This is my bag. It's a little bag. And what do you think I have in this bag? Because it's a bag that I use to go to parties.
Makeup.
What else?
Your wallet.
What else?
An ID.
Okay. Why do you think I have makeup?
Because if your makeup messes up at a party, then you put it back on.
But I don't wear makeup.
Oh, chapstick.
Okay. What else did you say? You said my ID? So let's see what's in this bag. Let's see if your reasoning is correct, because you based that on the fact that your mother wears makeup, right? Okay. Look what's in my bag. I have a girl. She has a guitar. I have some cards, an invitation to her party. And I have her party and who her parents are. This bag is for a girl who's having her 15th. Your reasoning, you based it on what your prior knowledge was. The only thing that you said correctly that's in here was my ID. But not makeup. But it's because most women wear makeup. I don't. Okay, so now we're going to do one together. We do. And this is, what's the theme of this bag? It has marker, crayon, ribbon, pencil, and colored pencil. So what's the theme?
Art.
It's an art bag. Exactly. Now, here is a you do. And it's an Inference graduation bag, but I need you to tell me if it's high school or college, and how do you know? So look in that bag, pull out stuff, and say aloud what you see. Talk aloud.
See, Dallas Baptist University.
Okay, what is that?
It's an application.
For what?
Financial aid?
To a what?
University.
To a university, okay. What else do you see?
A magazine about college admission.
A magazine about college admissions. What else do you see?
A ribbon that says 2016.
A ribbon that says 2016, a graduation ribbon.
From SMU.
SMU. So is this bag for high school or college?
College.
College. How did you know?
Because SMU is a college, and this was about a college admission, and this is also for financial aid for a university.
Financial aid for exactly. You are right, sir. This bag is geared for college, and it has lots of things in it to help the young person get into college, which I expect you to do. Okay. So our second activity will be t-shirt. So I want you to look at this t-shirt. First, I do. I look at the t-shirt. I notice that it's small. It definitely won't fit me. So I can infer that this t-shirt is for a child. Let's do a we do together. I see it says youth small. What else do we see?
It says Humbug.
It says humbug. What else?
Presented by Maria Moreno Elementary.
Presented by Maria Moreno Elementary. What else?
A cast of characters.
Okay, a cast of characters.
There's a choir and stagehand.
Okay, a choir and stagehand. So do you agree with me it's for a child?
Yes.
Okay. Now the you do. Tell me what else you see that you can infer from this shirt.
There are a lot of people's names, so I'm guessing those are all elementary kids.
Okay, a lot of people named. They're all elementary children. So what do you think this t-shirt is used for?
A play?
A play. What's the name of the play?
Humbug.
Humbug. And so this t-shirt is also used as the what? What do you call it when you go to something that you use that's usually made out of paper and that they open? Starts with a P.
Pamphlet.
Pamphlet program. Yes, sir. You are correct. That's exactly what it is. Good job. Good job. Our third activity is a text activity. Now, the thing I need you to know is when we're reading text, this is using pictures. You do the evidence and the schema equals the inference. When you're doing text, the evidence that you see are the words that you see. The schema is your brain, what you know. The inference is what you figured out. So that's what we're going to do now with this next activity. Read this aloud for me, really, really loud.
Getting away with it. Peter loved reading and writing. Peter loved drawing too. What did Peter not like? Math. All those numbers made his head spin. So what did Peter do? Nothing. He skipped his homework and he doodled in his notebook as his teacher, Miss Fife, demonstrated long division. In fact, the only thing that got Peter's attention in math class was when she said, "Don't forget about our big division test tomorrow." Uh-oh, gulped Peter. After class, Peter's math whiz friend, Jill, noticed his worried expression. "Do you want me to help you with long division?" she asked. "No, thanks," replied Peter with a false smile. "I can handle it." That night, Peter sat down at the kitchen table with his math book wide open. But before long, his mind slipped off the pages and into the comfortable zone of imagination. Peter, Peter doodled a flying sports car and a spooky wizard, a fire-breathing cow, and a fire-breathing cow. The good news was that the drawings were great. The bad news was that Peter still didn't have a clue how to do long division. The next day, Miss Fife handed out the test. She instructed the students to write their answers on it and use scratch paper for calculations. Peter stared down at the first problem. 12,015 divided by 45 equals blank. He squirmed. He bit his pencil. He peeked over at his friend's Jill paper. Why he could see her answer. Quick as a wink, he scribbled 267 in the first blank. What did he do after? He copied the rest of Jill's answers and then turned in his test. "How do you think you did?" asked Jill. Pretty well, I think," muttered Peter, and he was right. When he got his test back, it had a big red A at the top along with a smiley face sticker, just like Jill's. "Great work," said Jill. "Guess you didn't need my help after all." "Guess not," said Peter with a nervous grin. He couldn't believe it. He cheated on the test and actually gotten away with it. That night, Peter's mom was so proud of his math grade that she made his favorite meal, spaghetti and meatballs. But his stomach hurt too much to eat. Peter's dad was also thrilled, so he said Peter could play a video game for a whole hour, but Peter felt too sick to play. He even felt too sick to doodle, so Peter went off to bed early and drifted into a dark dream about a spooky wizard. The wizard waved his magic wand and chanted, "Cheater, cheater, pumpkin eater, I cast a spell on you, Peter. You fooled your parents and Jill and Miss Fife, but you'll feel guilty for the rest of your life." When Peter woke up, he was drenched in sweat. He looked around, relieved that the wizard was just a figment of his imagination. Still, he felt absolutely awful. He cheated on the math test, and it seemed like he gotten away with it. But did he really get away with it? He still didn't know how to do long division, and was a skill he would actually need. Plus, he felt guilty. He felt ashamed, and he felt so very sorry that for his terrible mistake. There was only one way to make things right. "Mom," he yelled from his bed, "come quick. I need to tell you something very important."
Okay. So we're going to do the I do first with this activity. According to the text, Peter A is doing fine in all his classes. B did not want to eat spaghetti and meatballs. C needs to work more on long division. Or D is very organized and stays on task. What do you think is the better answer? And let me tell you, my brain thinks about when I was a child, I had to take a test, I had to study, I had to work more on problems. And it said at the beginning of the text that Peter had real problems with long division. So, based on the text, based on my prior knowledge, I think C is the better answer, that he needs to work more on long division. Based on that, C would be the answer. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So now we'll do together. You can infer that Peter has a terrible headache and it makes it hard to sleep. B, cheating on the test of long division was not a good idea. C, Peter is just fine with the choice he made. Or D, Peter is so glad he made an A on the long division math test. So let's talk about this. Let's dialogue about this. Peter has a terrible headache and it makes it hard to sleep. Was that happening in that story?
Yes, but he didn't have a terrible headache.
Okay, yes, but it wasn't a terrible headache. How about C? Peter is just fine with the choice he made. Do you think he's fine with that choice?
No, because he's having all types of problems. He can't eat and can't sleep.
Okay, and D, Peter is so glad he made an A on that long division math test. Was he glad at first?
Yeah.
But what's the better choice? Look at B. Cheating on the test of long division was not a good idea. What do you think about that choice?
It wasn't a good idea, so yeah, I think
B is the best answer. Okay, I need you to look on this side, and I want you to look at question 1, because that's your inference question right there. Read it aloud and then tell us the answer.
At the end of the story, what do you think Peter is going to tell his mother? Why do you think so? What life lesson did he learn?
Okay. What do you think he's going to tell her?
That he cheated on the long division test.
That he cheated on the long division. And what life lesson did he learn?
To not cheat or else you'll get a really bad feeling.
Exactly, to not cheat. Okay, thank you. You were great. When I first started, I said, what is an inference? So I need you to tell us your card and explain your card. Just read it up and read it aloud and let us know which number you circled.
I circled 2, the definition of inference in my words, an ending that is gotten from using clues in the story or using evidence.
Okay, very good. What were your non-linguistic representation?
A guy throwing a dart.
Okay, why a guy throwing a dart?
Because usually using common knowledge, you know that if you threw the dart right, then it would hit the target.
Okay, hit the target, and the target is inferencing. And then tell us your example that you wrote.
My example was a boy went outside and ran. He came back inside with a scraped knee and crying.
Okay. Why?
Because he fell.
Because he fell. You can infer that he fell. Good job. Thank you. I'm going to put that aside a minute. I want to share some things with you. You can infer using a business card or movie ticket. You have the child look at the ticket or business card, and they tell you everything that they can possibly tell you from that card. You can also infer, as we did with the paper bag mystery. Put any 5 clues in a paper bag, give students an index card with clues on it for them to infer what's in the bag. You can also do cartoons. We have a cartoon here that we'll do as a closure. But what you do is you do the cartoons, you bubble out the words. You can do it on paper and download it for your virtual students. This is also something that they can glue in their interactive notebook, or you can put it on big paper like this and let them work in group and work out dialogue together. Remember, I laminate everything. Then t-shirt inference. You show the students a t-shirt with lots of stuff on it. What can they infer about the owner of the t-shirt and why? Show a short video, clip, photos, or pictures. That was one of the very first things that I had written on the lesson plan. And he actually watched the video before we started shooting. Can you tell us about the video in your own words?
So a boy gets caught stealing
Talk
medicine.
loud.
Um, a boy gets caught stealing medicine, and the lady's berating him about stealing and telling him not to do it again. And a shopkeeper that's on the other side pays for the boy's medicine after asking him why he's taking it. And he was told the man that he was buying it for his mother because his mother was really sick. And about 30 years later, the boy grows up to be a doctor. And the man that paid for the medicine for his mom, he had gotten really sick. And when the bills came in to pay for the man's treatment, the family for the man could not pay for it. And so the boy, because he was a doctor, he paid for everything. And that's kind of how it ended.
Okay. Okay. Good job. Then, what can you infer from that video?
That if that man had not helped him, the boy probably wouldn't have gotten into medicine.
Exactly. If the man had not helped the boy would not have grown up to be a doctor. Good job. You can also do riddle games, such as one-on-one online inference game by Phil Tulga. You can do reading between the line games. You can do Simon Dice, Simon Says, which is a word wall game where they figure out the word based on the clues you give. You saw the what's in my teacher's bag or purse game. You can do inference strategy. For example, what is inference? What we do, students discuss and draw an anchor chart to show their understanding. Why we do it, to build background knowledge, to see if our understanding has changed in any way. What can you inference with your partner? Students will draw 3 clues and they will have to learn to make a choice of the inference based on the details of the picture that they draw. Inference rap, a song. You heard that one. We will infers one. And there's another that I like out there. So just look on your YouTube and go inference songs and several will pull up. You can do umbrella inferences where clues are given in short story format where they read between the lines. You can do inference with a short video clip. You can do character web reference where they analyze the main character by feelings, emotions, and infer. You can do a daily 5 inference where they have 5 different ways to infer every day. They talk to self, talk to partner, they inference word puzzle, and text to book, and inference word work. I will show you the inference card game with my younger students in a little bit. They can create their own inferences. They can read a realistic fiction, which I showed you an example when he read the bell ringer about the tornado. The Inference 101 game on the computer and the Inference worksheet. You can have students create their own anchor charts. Now, I do want to share with you that they can also do things like, this says making inferences. It says they write the question down, evidence from the text, their prior knowledge, and what they infer. Or this one, which says, it says, I say, and so. So step 1, they write the question down again. It says, step 2, they find the information from the text that will help answer that question. Step 3, the I say, they think about what they know about the information. And so step 4 is they combine the text with what they know to come up with an inference. Remember, inference is information from the text, background knowledge or schema, which makes an inference. When you make an inference, you go beyond the author's words to understand what is not said in the text. I want to share just a few more things with you before we do the last closure activity. These are inference cards, Practica de Inferencia. It says, lees las historias cortas, escoge la respuesta correcta. So all they're doing is they're reading the short stories and they're choosing the correct inference. And these are tarjetas de inferencia. And for example, el líder de los exploradores miró al cielo y murmuró algo en voz baja. Luego miró el mapa. Vamos andando, le dijo al grupo de niños, cansados. Cuanto más rápido, mejor. ¿Qué crees que estaba sintiendo el líder de los exploradores y por qué lo piensas? So you can see that these cards have little short dialogues or vignettes, and all they do is answer them, and they can work with a partner or work by themselves at home on the computer. I do again refer you to the books of Dr. Marzano. Please, please, please look up the information because he gives a lot of great information on working with inference. That's one of the skills students will definitely need in the 21st century. I want to share one other thing with you, and then my student will do the last activities. This says we do many activities to learn how to infer inference. This fourth activity, our DLE fourth grade student will create using umbrella clues. Our fourth grade understand that when you use your background knowledge plus clues from the text, you can make an inference. And then there are the teaks. So they had to draw inferences such as a conclusion with text evidence. The next one, the first activity, our DLA fourth graders created inferences by pictures and gave 3 choices for the reader. Our DLA fourth grade understand that when you use your background knowledge and clues from the text, you make an inference. We gave the text. They had to draw inference with a conclusion, infer meaning by association with visuals, and make inferences about their own text. The closure activity, again, is you take a cartoon, you bubble out the words, and they put dialogue in it. You can actually print it out, give it to your students in the classroom, then they'll cut it out and put it in their interactive notebook, or they can work on that sheet with a friend. So let me give you a few minutes here to write in your dialogue. What do you think those 2 girls are talking about? Let me know when you're ready. Remember, we have to scaffold. It is really, really important that we scaffold for them. So you always want to use I do, we do, you do to help them learn. You want to do all the activities at least 20 times. On the bell ringers, if you're introducing, you want to start the bell ring on a Monday. So you do like Monday, Wednesday. But if it's something that you're reviewing, then you want to do like Tuesday, Thursday. But you want to completely make sure that you give them lots of different ways to see and do inference. When my students do it in Spanish, we use a magazine that is written in Spanish. I thought I brought a copy with me, but the magazine in Spanish has stories that relate to today. And so they do the magazine, and I make up lots of inference questions from that. Okay, you finished?
Yes.
Okay. It says, do you think a woman can be president? It says Gracie for president. And Gracie screaming, what do you have her screaming? Scream it loud.
Equality.
Why equality?
Because most president were men.
Because most president was men. What do you have her friend saying?
But seriously, do you think that?
She says, but seriously, do you think that? And what does Gracie say?
Of course.
Of course. So there you go. I want to thank you, and I want you to hang on till we change, because we have to go get the little girl now. And you will see her going through some basic activities for younger children with inferencing. And I sincerely hope that you enjoyed this presentation and that you did learn some different things you can do with your class, in class, and virtually. Thank you.